Great racehorses have a big engine, they have a great deal of ability, but they've got a lot of heart. They're very competitive, and they seemingly know what their job is. They want to win.
At his famed Meadow Stable near Doswell, Virginia, farm patriarch Christopher T. Chenery knew how to produce winners. But in 1972, while his most promising racer was still a 2-year-old, Chenery fell ill. His daughter Penny took the horse's reins in her father's absence. The colt had an athletic build and exceptionally good looks. Still, Penny Chenery wasn't sure if he had the drive to win.
My own reaction when I first saw him was that he was too pretty to do any good. That because he's a wonderful-looking horse and flashy and dominant, God just doesn't put everything into one package. And if he was that good-looking, there must have been a deficit.
According to racing lore, horses with white markings just above their hoofs were supposed to have weak leg bones. Superstition surrounded any horse with so-called socks, and Chenery's horse had 3 such markings. But over time, the colt's legs proved both strong and fast. He had socks on his feet and winning on his mind. His name was Secretariat.
He was a grand-looking horse. He's big and strong. He had legs like iron, which a lot of them don't. He had a tremendous mind and, iron constitution. He had it all. He was the total package.
Secretariat also had a stable full of talent backing him up. Penny Chenery hired veteran trainer Lucian Lauren, who brought high hopes to Secretariat's first race.
Lucian apparently had the same expectation for the horse, but didn't want me to get my hopes up. Because then he'd have to explain why the horse wasn't as good as we hoped. And of course, he didn't win his first race. And Lucian who had been very calm through the race, got up, this was at Aqueduct, and kicked the chair across the box and said, "Damn, he should never be beaten."
Secretariat's trainer believed in him, but others were less impressed. Shadowed by doubts and the dismissals of naysayers, Secretariat entered the 99th running of the Kentucky Derby.
They're all just as nervous as snakes. And so now they walk with the horse from the barn and all the way around to the saddling paddock. And that builds the excitement. It's like the gladiators entering the arena.
There are 3 horses left, and so I give it to Chick Anderson, who called the race.
He broke last, as he always does.
For the lead. On the inside, that our native, Restless Jet.
But then he made this sudden move around the far turn, not where you would strategize, but he just did it on his own. He thought, well, I'm going to put this one away.
Secretariat is 4th and moving up on the outside, and is now 3rd, and moving at the leaders as they come for the head of the stretch. Secretariat is in the center of the racetrack and driving. Jockey Green now drops back. Coming on a bit is Forgo, our native on the outside. Jam, then on the outside, our native. At the wire, it's going to be Secretariat. He wins it by 2 lengths. Jam is...
If you're going to look at the greatest Derby, you have to look at 1973 for what Secretariat has meant to racing and the Derby since then.
From the Derby, Penny Chenery took Secretariat to Baltimore, where at Pimlico he ran for the second jewel in the Triple Crown, the Preakness.
When he came past the stands the first time, he made the sudden leap forward and went for the lead with this astonishing burst of speed. And that was all his own doing. He just felt like, well, I'll take over now. And so then we had to worry that he didn't step in a hole or something, but I'd gotten to trust him that once he got on the lead, he wasn't going to be headed. And so there was silence, and I thought the camera was off, and I sang an old spiritual, "One more river, there's one more river to cross." And but it came over the air.
That one more river, of course, was the Belmont Stakes. The nation was captivated by Secretariat, who was celebrated on the covers of Time, Sports Illustrated, and Newsweek. But to become the first horse in 22 years to win the Triple Crown, he would have to beat a very fast colt named Sham.
Sham was a wonderful horse. Secretariat broke the track record at Churchill, but so did Sham because he was so close behind him.
Everybody's in line, and they're off. Looks like the early lead goes to My Gallant. Yes, My Gallant going for the lead with Twice the Prince on the outside. Secretariat away very well, has good position on the rail. Then it's Twice the Prince, and the trainer is Private Smiles as they go by. Those two together, Sham on the outside. Sham getting ahead in front as they move around the turn with Secretariat second. Still Sham.
Secretariat just started easing away from Sham and gradually widened and widened and widened.
It looks like they'll catch him today as My Gallant and Twice the Prince are both coming up to him now.
He just got in this rhythmic, almost mechanical stride. He was just in a groove. He was in a zone, as we'd say. And it was a day when he felt like running, and he was on the right track, and he was in the biggest race of his life. And he just kept running.
Incredibly, Secretariat ran each quarter faster than the last, picking up speed as the race went on.
Unbelievably, went faster the farther he went, and just annihilated the field with minimal encouragement on Ron Turcotte's part. I mean, it was just an unbelievable display of ability.
And set the world record for a 1.5-mile race and won it by 31 lengths. You couldn't even see his nearest competitor.
He did things that are indescribable. Track record in every one of his Triple Crown wins.
I've never seen any horse, and I think I could say any animal, that had a personality and a charisma that horse had. I mean, he was a beautiful animal. It never failed that when you would walk up to his paddock at Claiborne, that he would come running up to the fence, take one look at you and take off on this victory lap all the way around his paddock, and then just come screeching back up to the fence with dust flying in your face and just kind of shake his head. Aren't I cool? And then usually go for a good roll. But God, he was a magnificent animal.
Secretariat not only won races, he brought thoroughbred racing back to the front page. Time magazine would eventually name him as one of the top 10 athletes of the 20th century.
That a horse would be considered on the same level of achievement as humans. I was thrilled. I was thrilled for racing and thrilled for Secretariat, but really quite surprised. I just thought we were a niche sport, and really having Secretariat included on those lists made us a contending sport, and he was a contender.
He was a specimen to look at, but he was very gifted on the racetrack. I mean, he had a big engine, as we would say in racing circles. He had a big motor, a big heart, and a tremendous amount of ability.
In fact, Secretariat's heart was so big, it had veterinarians scratching their heads during an autopsy following the horse's death in 1989. His heart was twice the size of a normal horse's heart.
But this was just a perfect, immense heart, and the biggest one they've ever seen. And then that started people thinking, well, how did he get this heart? And now they've been able to trace the bloodlines that produced it. And it goes, a big heart goes from the father to the daughter, and then she gives it to her sons.
Secretariat was clearly blessed with a champion's breeding. His potential was plain to see. Chiseled muscles, a shiny coat, and a bloodline that foreshadowed his phenomenal success.